All right, here's what we got going on today, guys. So, a lot of people think that Mike Johnson is a fake profile, and they're trying to figure out who's behind that profile. And it was recently suggested to me that Michaeline Walgreen could be behind the fake Mike Johnson profile. So here's what I did. I programmed AI to be an expert at statement analysis and comparing writing samples to see if there's any similarities, to see if the samples of writing could be from the same author. So what I did is I took a crap load of writing samples from Mike Johnson. I'm talking thousands and thousands of words. And I did the same for Michaeline Walgreen. And I put them into AI under the programming where they're going to be an expert at analyzing statements and writing samples. And this is what AI thinks. Okay, we're going to go over this whole report to see if AI thinks that Michaeline Walgreen could be behind the fake Mike Johnson account. Or is Mike Johnson real? Let's go through this and let's see what AI thinks. So here's the similarities. Tone and aggression. Both samples use highly confrontational, aggressive language laden with profanity. Examples: fucking stalker, dumbest MFer, F off, bullshit, and personal attacks. Your husband should be embarrassed to have you for a wife. Hypocrite and mockery. For example, severely medicated teenage girl. Aliens. So, in those aspects, in tone and aggression, it's very, very similar in both writing styles. The thematic focus. Both center on Noah's case, accusing others of lying. Example, Caden's timeline is wrong. Another example, Alicia feeds you bullshit. Spreading misinformation and hindering justice. And then you got legal threats. Example, sued for every last penny in property liability laws. And then it shows the distrust of police and family. Corruption, family lied about FBI. Those are the recurring motives in both samples. Then you have the writing style. Stream of consciousness structure with abrupt topic shifts, minimal punctuation, and run-on sentences. Both writing styles have these things. Sample number 1. Here's an example. I'll request you next time. It's pathetic to use Noah's case the way he does. Sample number 2. They will turn on you. I'm done talking to you. And it's just pointing out that regardless of what the context of what they're saying is, it's the writing style. They're talking about two different topics, but they write the same style. Okay? Run-on sentences, minimal punctuation, and abrupt topic shifts. That's the whole point of this. You go from I'll request you next time to it's pathetic to use Noah's case the way it does. So far it's looking like a match, okay? Then you have repetitive phrasing. I don't give a F, real people, police know, and then sarcastic remarks. Good luck, Sherlock, and I told you so. I'm sure they were aiming those towards me. But both samples, very similar repetitive types of phrasing. And then you have the grammatical patterns, consistent errors, your versus your. So you're the dumbest, which it was supposed to be with the apostrophe, meaning you are the dumbest, but they keep writing your, Y-O-U-R. Both accounts, Michaeline and Mike Johnson, do this. They both use Y-O-U-R, which is wrong. Then you have missing apostrophes, like in examples of "it's official," that should have an apostrophe, and inconsistent capitalization. So both writing samples from Mike and Michaeline have this. Okay. Then you have self-righteousness. Both authors position themselves as truth tellers. Example, my only narrative is facts. Another example, I'm for the truth, while dismissing critics as conspiracy theorists or blind followers. So this is all the similarities, which that's a lot, guys. And I could have put in 10,000 words from each, but I only did about 1,000 from each. Okay, and I purposely had them, even though they talk about Noah's case a lot, I purposely had them talk about different things. You know, Noah's case, but different subjects, just because I wanted the writing samples compared. I didn't want them, you know, both talking about the same exact subject, just so that AI would think that they're the same person. And it found all these 5 different themes were the same. Okay, so now we're going to get into the differences in the writing styles, and there's not many. But before we get into those differences, we're going to take a quick little intermission. Okay, so let's jump into this intermission real quick, and I'll be right back. All right, I hope you enjoyed that little intermission. So now we're going to look at the differences real quick. And like I say, there's not many. There's only 3. And I knew there would be, and I wanted there to be, which is why, like I said earlier, I used different subjects that both people were talking about. Mike, you know, I had Mike, samples of Mike's writing on different topics than some stuff that Michaeline was talking about. Okay, I did that on purpose, and so here's what it found. Okay, specific details. Sample number 1 references Michael Johnson in Oklahoma, and it references 24-hour timelines and parking lot DoorDash anecdotes, which he's bashing me. Okay. And then sample number 2 delves into property law, renters versus host, geofence data, autopsies, and photo switching between Caden and Alicia. And this was all on purpose, guys. Sample number 2 was Michaeline, and she really is focused on Caden and Alicia, and she supports the party host. Okay, and she believes geofencing is going to solve the case and all that. So that's why it's saying that Mike's focused on this stuff, you know, bashing me about DoorDash, and Michaeline is focused on these other things. But that's on purpose, guys. Michaeline has bashed me, but I left those out. Okay, I could have included those, but I didn't put those in this comparison. Okay. Next, we have the targets of criticism. Sample 1 fixates on a stalker figure and Trav's fake profile. Mike Johnson is trying to say I have fake profiles just because I'm accusing him of being fake, which I don't. I have none, 0. I don't do that shit. Okay. Sample number 2 focuses on Pam's family, Alicia's lies, and Stevie Howard's alleged identity. So you can see the targets of their criticism are 2 different things here. But here's what I'll say about that. All these samples that I got from Michaeline are from months and months ago when I talked to her, and all we talked about was the case. And she definitely hates Pam. Okay. I don't talk to Michaeline anymore. Okay. Mike is totally fixated on attacking me, which makes sense because the reason me and Michaeline don't talk anymore is because I made her mad. And she now hates me. Okay. She called me all these crazy names like I'm stuck up and I'm arrogant and blah, blah, blah. And see, now Mike says the same things about me. Okay. So it kind of just adds up. Then you got the legal depth. Here's the differences. Sample 2 demonstrates more nuanced legal knowledge, landlord liability, subpoena processes, while sample number 1 emphasizes personal threats like countersuing and patiently waiting for your lawyer. Okay. And that could be by design. Okay. If Michaeline has fake accounts, then she would be using them for different purposes. And it seems like she uses the Mike Johnson account to personally attack people. That's what it seems like. Okay, but that's just an if. If she is behind the Mike Johnson fake profile. So now we'll get to the conclusion here of what AI thinks. Okay, even though there was a lot of similarities and some differences, overall, this is what AI thinks. The stylistic and linguistic consistency, example, aggression, grammatical errors, and the thematic obsessions, strongly suggests both samples were written by the same person. Differences in specific details likely reflect evolving focus points. Examples, shifting targets of criticism, deeper legal research over time, rather than distinct authors. And see, that's what I was trying to explain to you guys. It's different samples from different time periods. Okay, different samples about different subjects, different situations, which I included on purpose. And so the differences are explained there, that it's different writing samples about different situations and times and stuff. Okay, the shared voice combining hostility, sarcasm, and self-positioning as a persecuted truth teller supports single authorship. The final judgment is that these two samples of writing from Mike Johnson and from Michaeline Walgreen were likely written by the same individual. So this is just what AI thinks. This is not set in stone. This is not 100% accurate. This is statement analysis and writing sample analysis on steroids. AI can do it better than any human on the planet. People that do this for a living cannot do it as good as AI can. So AI checked both writing samples, and this is what it came up with, and it thinks that Mike Johnson is a fake account that is ran by Michaeline Walgreen. So y'all let me know what y'all think about that, and I'll talk to y'all later.